Finally, niche.com released a report for the best Twin Cities suburbs to buy a home in 2024. So I've got copious notes. I'm going to break down exactly what's on the report. Definitely some things I agree with and disagree with. Number 15 on our list is Mendota Heights, Minnesota. Now, this was an interesting one because it was actually number 1 for the best ranked suburbs last year. This year, it's number 15. Overall, niche.com still gives it really good scores. A+ rating overall. It's the number 2 place to retire in Minnesota. It's the number 6 city to live in Minnesota. One thing that's notable, if schools are important to you, first of all, you can actually find a whole playlist on our channel, and one of the videos in there is of the best ranked school districts in Minnesota. I just put that one out. But notable for Mendota Heights is that it's got Nova Classical. Now, this is a public charter school. It's available in a lot of different areas. However, it is just across the river from Mendota Heights. So if you're particularly looking at that school, Nova Classical is really close by. Niche.com does give it A ratings in everything except for crime, cost of living, and diversity. Now, if I'm honest, those are going to be pretty similar numbers to what you're going to find through the rest of this list. So it's not a huge negative for Mendota Heights, and it is the sort of rankings that you're going to see when you get closer into the urban areas. Speaking of cost of living, the median income for Mendota Heights is $130,000, and the median cost for a home is going to be $500,000. Now, what's interesting to note is that you're not going to find new construction. Of the 129 homes that sold last year, only 3 of those were new construction, and those averaged $730,000, so about a 50% jump if you can even find it. One of our favorite things about Mendota Heights, though, is Fort Snelling State Park. So this is a great place if you're looking to get the kids outside. You can go for some day hikes around there. There's a lot of nature trails. It's right by the river, of course, and so you do have a lot of green areas, and its close proximity to downtowns makes it really appealing. Number 14 on niche.com's best Twin Cities suburbs to buy a home is Minnetonka. Now, this one was pretty surprising, not because it was on the list this year. It's one of our best suburbs for sure, but it actually wasn't at all on the top 15 list for last year. So finally, Minnetonka has made the list, and you can see why. A+ ratings overall. It's got A's in every category except for cost of living, crime, nightlife, and diversity. Now, cost of living obviously is going to be a little bit higher for any of our Twin Cities suburbs that are truly the best. Nightlife, I mean, this is kind of funny because if you're living out in the suburbs, you're probably not looking for nightlife. That would be closer like Mendota Heights or somewhere closer to the city. So most likely people looking at Minnetonka don't care about that. Some of the things people love Minnetonka for, though, is going to be the top rated school districts. All of our top districts are going to be over on that west side of the metro where Minnetonka is located, and niche.com also gave it number 6 rating as the best places to raise a family. Surprisingly, it's also a little bit more affordable than Mendota Heights, with the median price point for homes at $472,000. There is some new construction option there, and I think these numbers might be a little bit misleading. But new construction homes last year averaged about $900,000, almost double the cost of a previously owned home. However, what's also important to note is that there is a lot of homes in this area that are getting torn down, so they're bought just for the lots, and then renovated. So if you are looking for something more expensive or executive, those are definitely options in Minnetonka. And one thing I thought I'd point out is a lot of people that are wanting to be on Lake Minnetonka, you're actually probably not going to live in the city of Minnetonka. We're going to have options for those coming up in just a minute. Number 13 on our list is Eagan, Minnesota. This city is down from number 9 on last year's list, so it's one that you're already familiar with. Niche.com's report card looks like A's on just about everything. The one thing of note was commuting, which I thought was a little bit odd. I'm going to disagree with some of these rankings you're going to see. But as far as commuting goes, Eagan is pretty darn close, and it is a good location if you're trying to get into St. Paul in particular, but also Minneapolis. Median income for Eagan is going to be $104,000, so that's actually going to make it one of the more affordable suburbs. Median price point for homes is going to be $375,000, so those are also quite affordable, and there is a little more option for new construction. A few things Eagan is most known for, of course, is going to be having the Vikings training facility. If you live in that area, you're probably going to be enjoying going to Lebanon Hills towards the south, and it's also close to the Minnesota Zoo. I actually had a family recently relocating. They love to go to the zoo, so they wanted to know what areas. Eagan was top of their list for that. Prairie Lake's coming in at number 12, and this is up one spot from 13 last year. If you know Prairie Lake, you probably know it because it's kind of a quieter, easier going pace of life. This is going to be down towards the further southwest side of the metro. Niche.com calls it sparse suburban, which I think is a new term, but I love it. That's exactly how I would describe Prairie Lake. One thing I have to disagree with Niche.com, though, on their report card is the B rating for outdoors. I don't know that there's much of a better suburb for getting outside. If you look at the map, Prairie Lake has lakes all throughout it from the namesake Prairie Lake to Spring Lake to the south, Lakefront Park on the other side, Cleary Lake. There's a whole bunch of regional parks, there's trails, and the city parks itself are really good too. So I don't know where they're coming up with the low rating for outdoor activities. And I actually asked my lender that I go to, you might have seen her on a previous video for first-time buyers and fixing credit. She says it's got a great small town feel, but it's still got urban amenities. She likes that it's down on the edge or the outskirts of the city, but it's still got a lot to offer. Great community. It's great being by the lakes. There's a ton of recreation, boating, different outdoors activities. But she did give it a ding, said that there's not a lot of restaurants open during lunch hours. The median income for Prairie Lake is $130,000, and the median price point for a home is $475,000. Because this is one of the further sparse suburb areas too, there are also a lot more options for new construction. New construction homes last year accounted for about 20 to 25% of home sales overall for Prairie Lake. But those did average about $753,000. So of course you're going to expect to pay more for new construction anyhow, but that is a pretty big jump, primarily because there's not a lot of production builders, so it's a little bit more custom. So if that's what you're looking for, Prairie Lake's a cool option. If you're looking for something a little more affordable, number 11 on our list is Mounds View, Minnesota. Now Mounds View is a little bit of a sleeper, and this had me thinking I should make a video on the most underrated suburbs. So turn your notification bell on, because I'll probably have to make that one soon. But Mounds View is definitely one of the little underrated cities. Main drawback I'm going to give you for Mounds View is the homes overall are older. There really isn't a lot of pizzazz to Mounds View, so if that's what you're looking for, you're not going to find it here at all. If you can get over that, there's a ton of pros for it. It's got an A rating on niche.com. I thought some of these were kind of funky too, because a low rating for jobs. I mean, it's so close to Minneapolis and St. Paul. This one's also great for commuting, which you got dinged for. I think there's plenty of jobs, plenty of easy access being on the north side where traffic is just a little bit lighter in my experience. The school districts are also really highly rated, and there is a ton of outdoor activity with Rice Creek not too far away and Long Lake to the south. So you can still get out, you can still enjoy life, have great school districts for the kids, and the median price point for homes is only $313,000, making it easily the most affordable. All right, top 10 now, and coming in at number 10 is Lakeville, Minnesota. Now this one, interestingly enough, was down from number 5 last year, and I was a little surprised by this one. I think Lakeville is a sleeper as well that people haven't really appreciated as much, but there's a ton of development that is pushing out. So here's what the niche.com report card looks like. B rating for cost of living, B plus for crime, nightlife. Who's going to Lakeville for nightlife? You're not looking for that, and you're probably not looking for commuting. So overall, if you factor out those things, I think this is a totally underrated suburb for the Twin Cities. As far as stuff to do, Lakeville's also got one of the cutest little downtowns. There are a ton of different shops, different restaurants. There's a cool coffee shop that's got that caramel bourbon iced coffee I had one time, was fantastic. And there's also a ton of nature area. They just redid Lake Marion Park, Antlers Park area. There's the beach. There's a mountain biking trail area. There's so much stuff to do. Personally, I'm kind of a suburbs guy, so I really like Lakeville. Looking at home prices, the median is $485,000 overall. There is a ton of new construction. Out of the 1,081 homes that sold altogether last year, almost 400 of those were new construction. So almost a third were new, and that new construction price point was only $518,000. So that's a very affordable price point. But if you are looking to get your price point down, I do have a little tip for you. Go across the street to Farmington. Farmington is also going to be another one that's very close to the amenities of downtown Lakeville. You still got plenty of access to Lake Marion and the other outdoor areas. It's close to the schools, but the price point is going to go down a bunch. The median price point for all homes is $115,000 lower for Farmington versus Lakeville. New construction is also $85,000 less. Number 9 on our list is Lake St. Croix Beach. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I know my Twin Cities really well. I'd never heard of this one. Lake St. Croix Beach. Apparently, population 1,043 is located over south of Stillwater. It's right on that St. Croix, Wisconsin border. I'll just use this as an opportunity to tell you, if you're looking anywhere around the Twin Cities, feel free to reach out. If you've got an obscure township like this that you want me to look up, I'm happy to let you know if I serve that area. Generally about 20-mile radius, give me a call. Moving on, we've got number 8 is Victoria, Minnesota. Now, if you're thinking you want to live on Lake Minnetonka, or if you're on that west side, let's just use Victoria as a placeholder to talk about kind of quite a few of those. There's a bunch of different little cities and towns, which you can go see neighborhood tours of over there. I would recommend pulling up the Excelsior video, for example, because there's a whole bunch of little lakes all around Lake Minnetonka, and there's a whole bunch of little towns and townships as well. So Victoria coming in at number 8, no surprise, it's going to be very highly rated for just about everything. You've got overall a decent cost of living for having an A+ rated area. You've got C for outdoors, which I thought was really shocking because, again, there are so many lakes and nature areas, things to do. They totally got that one wrong. As far as commuting being lowly rated, at first I definitely disagree because you do have 5 or Highway 7 that you can zip into Minneapolis from. But this is another one that, if I'm honest, you're not really living in Victoria because you want to commute into the downtowns. Victoria and that side of the metro is going to be some of the most expensive real estate around the Twin Cities. Their median income for households is $180,000. Homes are going to average you $600,000 overall. And then if you're looking for new construction, surprisingly enough, that price point actually didn't go up that much. M&I, Pulte, Lennar, and I believe D.R. Horton all have big developments that are going in over there. This is one of those first ring expansion suburbs that are happening right now as things push out. Just like Lakeville is to the south, Victoria is to the west. So you can find some production builders in the low 600s, and there's definitely a lot of new construction, which you can also put on acreage out there. So if you've got the budget, you're looking for new construction and acreage, I would definitely not sleep on Victoria. Number 7 on niche.com's best suburbs to buy a home around the Twin Cities is Plymouth, Minnesota. I've talked about Plymouth quite a bit, so if you want to learn all about Plymouth, you can go to the channel. I've got a neighborhood playlist, and Plymouth has 2 different neighborhood tours that we've done. It's a very popular suburb. People love it for really highly rated schools. It's got a really diverse set of real estate, so you can get lower entry-level townhomes all the way up to really high-end and custom. So it's got a really approachable nature to it. It's also, speaking of nature, there's a ton of different nature trails. You've got Clifton E. French Park to one side. The city is known for having really, really nice public areas. They've got a botanical garden. They've got the skate center and all kinds of different public facilities. Income for Plymouth is looking at $130,000. And then homes in that area are going to average you $485,000. If you're looking for new construction, that's where it's going to really go up fast. The median price point for new construction is $1.2 million in Plymouth. So this is going to be neighborhoods like the Hollydale neighborhood, which seems to be really popular right now. Those are developments that most of them are selling before the homes even go on the market. So if you're looking for those things, don't hesitate to reach out because I've got connections with builder reps and I can see what they've got available off market. Number 6 is Lauderdale, Minnesota. Now this one was really surprising to me. I don't know if this is top 15 suburbs contender. In my mind, Lauderdale isn't even a city. To be completely honest with you, I had to look this one up to confirm because it seems much more like a neighborhood of St. Paul. That's all I've ever considered it because it's such a tiny, tiny little area. There's also very few homes for sale, and so even though it is highly rated, I think their data might be a little funky on this one. There's a lot more commercial areas. There's the U of M facilities are all throughout there, and then the State Fair is right next door. So that's really the vibe of this area. There's a huge percentage that rent. There's almost 50% rentals versus owning in that area, and I think that's going to be primarily for grad student type of programs. You're going to see that this is a very educated area, but the median income is only $74,000. So this tells you, I think there's going to be a lot of students, a lot of renters, and not necessarily a lot of nice real estate. All right, we're getting into the top 5 now, and this is where it gets real fun. Coming in at number 5 is Rosemount. This might be one that I don't know if it deserves to be in the top 5. If you live in Rosemount, you're probably absolutely love it, and you're going to tell me in the comments why it's so great, and please do. I'm happy to hear that for any of these cities. It does have an A rating overall, and it's a very good city, but it's kind of a sleeper. I don't know that there's anything really in the city of Rosemount that's particularly special. The median price point is $412,000. New construction's only going to run you just over $500,000, so that's pretty good. The median income is $127,000, so that's a good income relative to the homes. If you're looking for new construction, there are a few different developments that I'm aware of over there. D.R. Horton and Lennar and M&I do believe, have developments in Rosemount. You're, of course, close to the Mall of America. You're close to the airport. You've got Lebanon Hills not too far away. So there are plenty of things close by. But if I'm honest, Rosemount doesn't do anything for me. Number 4 is Medina, Minnesota. Now, this one's the complete opposite in just about every way from what we were just talking about. Medina is a very high-end luxury area. This is right next door to Wayzata, and with that is definitely going to come a higher price point. The median income is $202,000, so there's plenty of opportunity in that sense, but the homes are going to cost you a median of $787,000. There is not a lot of new construction that's happening in Medina, and pretty much everything is going to be higher end and custom. Niche.com rates it number 2 for the best places to raise a family in Minnesota, number 4 for the best suburbs to live in, and number 1 school districts, of course, with Wayzata schools. Wrapping us up, number 3 is Arden Hills, Minnesota. Now, I'm going to put a pin in this one and come back to it because this is very closely related to number 1, so I'll let you be curious of what number 1's going to be. But let's talk about number 2 on our list, which is Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Now, you are not surprised Eden Prairie was also number 2 last year. This is one of the highest demand suburbs. This is probably the most watched neighborhood tour on the channel because people just love Eden Prairie. The median price point is $460,000, so it's definitely got affordable, approachable options if you're looking for something entry level, and then it's definitely got higher end and executive as well. If you're looking for new construction in Eden Prairie, $925,000 is the median price tag for that. It is going to be primarily higher end custom new construction. There isn't a lot of entry level. If you're looking for entry level and you want to be in the Eden Prairie area, I would suggest going down the Highway 212 to Chaska. There are some newer entry level price points there. So it's still going to give you quick access to everything people love about Eden Prairie. You've got the Eden Prairie Mall, so there's tons of shopping and restaurants. You've got all the outdoor parks, the nature areas, the public facilities are fantastic. And it's for all those reasons, Niche.com rates it as the number 1 place to raise a family in the Twin Cities, even over Medina, which is almost twice the price point. And finally, number 1 on Niche.com's list is Shoreview, Minnesota. I wanted to lump together Shoreview and Arden Hills because these are 2 very small little cities. They're right next to each other, smaller populations, and so there's a ton of overlap. Shoreview and Arden Hills are great because their price points are definitely lower. Median homes in Shoreview are $360,000, and in Arden Hills, $412,000. So both of those are much more approachable. Even though the median income is still up there, Shoreview's got $106,000, Arden Hills at $122,000. Tons of great city facilities. Our kids love the new park that they put in by the city center. So overall, both are great options. And that's a wrap on Niche.com's top 15 suburbs to buy a house around the Twin Cities. My name's Joe Carmack. So if you're thinking about buying a home, I hope you'll reach out. I help tons of people from YouTube all over the Twin Cities. So you'll find my information in the description down below, and I'll catch you next time.